Good morning, friends and family. John Miller, your Lake Stevens Realtor, coming at you here on a Monday, chilly Monday morning, January 25th. Happy Monday. Today's question comes out of Everett, Washington, and the question that happens is, what happens if there are multiple offers? And that's a really good question. I'm going to do this over two parts. I'm going to do sellers this week and buyers next week. From the seller's standpoint, what do we do? And in this market, we're seeing quite a few of them. There's just very little inventory. A lot of buyers are getting out of the market after the first of the year, and we have almost nothing to sell them. So virtually everything that's coming on the market is selling almost instantaneously and for over asking, and that's causing some issues we'll get into here in just a bit. Probably more next week, but we'll talk a little bit about this morning. Anyway, from the seller standpoint, what do we do? How do we, you're looking, John, what do I do if I've got, like yesterday, we had an agent in here. She had 8 offers on her new listing, so we're trying to negotiate that. Typically, what we do when I take a listing is we discuss what are the potential for multiple offers, and we set up an offer review date. I try to list on a Thursday or a Friday, and then we set an offer review date, and that's in the listing that is displayed to the agents, and that will be reviewing offers Monday at say 5 o'clock. And that gives an entire weekend of showing. It's not a bad idea. That gives everyone an opportunity to get in, see the home, make an offer, and obviously the seller doesn't have to do anything. They can, if they don't receive any offers that weekend, we just proceed with the listing, or if we don't receive offers that we want to entertain, we just continue with the listing until we get one we do. Anyway. As for how we negotiate those, that is really the decision of the seller. I give I obviously have discussion with my sellers, and I give my recommendations on how we should proceed. But at the end of the day, it really is the decision of the seller. And there are a variety of ways we can negotiate transactions. We can negotiate with all, some, or none of those offers. There's a variety of things we can do. It's like playing poker. There's more than one way to play a hand of poker. At any rate, and the negotiations are usually based on the seller's needs and wants. And the vast majority of, and really in any transaction from the seller, is that they want, you're looking at the net proceeds. What am I going to gain out of the sale of my home? What if I was to cash out? How big is the check they're going to hand me at escrow? Okay, and that's obviously very understandable. To do that, and the other main component of that is the strength of the buyer's financing. That's a big deal right now, and that has to do with what I mentioned earlier, that it does cause some issues with the appraisals. So, when we're seeing offers $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 over asking or higher, I've heard of them, $200,000, $250,000 over asking for some of the higher end homes. It really pushes the edge of the envelope on the appraisal. And you've got to have a bank who agrees that the house is worth, that the loan's collateralized, and the home is worth what they're going to loan on it. And if it's not, they're not going to loan. Now, that being said, what happens in the event of a low appraisal is many buyers are willing to say, okay, look, I have the cash position. If we don't appraise, say it appraises $20,000 low, I'll bring an extra $20,000 to the table and make that happen. Boom, the loan's collateralized, and it can go forward. Many buyers will propose that on day one. We'll talk about that more next week. But from the seller's standpoint, obviously, you don't want to burn time, on a transaction if it doesn't appraise, and you can't meet that difference. The seller can't come down in price, or the buyer can't come up in cash, or combination of those two. That just doesn't happen. So we really do look at strength of financing. Obviously, if you have a buyer who has all cash, well, that's obviously, you're going to look very carefully at that, regardless of where it sits. It might be the second or third best, but you know what? Maybe that cash offer might be the best way to go. It just solves so many problems. Anyway, or loans that have a material amount down, conventional 20% or more down. Those are the ones we look at very carefully when we talk about strength of financing. Unfortunately, you have a VA or USDA loan with 0 down. Unfortunately, those buyers many times will filter all the way to the bottom of the pile, as it were. There are other factors involved from sellers. It really depends on the needs and wants. Many times a seller might need a rent back. or it's how quickly you can close, or how long it might take you to close. They might need a long close, possibly 2 months or even longer. That does happen as well. Again, the seller can negotiate with all, some, or none of those. And it's really the seller's decision at the end of the day. If the seller is taking an offer that is not, the highest price, we have to be prepared to answer why we took that. And again, it might be just strength of financing. At the end of the day, the buyers will not know the terms of the other offers. They won't, at closing, they'll see what it's sold for, but during the course of the transaction, that's all confidential. And the seller, obviously, you can only sell your home once. You can take backup offers. That is appropriate under certain conditions. And we can share information on all the offers with other buyers. This is something that a lot of people are not aware of. A lot of buyers are not aware of, is that I can share, if that benefits our seller as a listing agent, if it benefits you as the seller, I can share information on any or all of the offers with any or all of the other buyers to try to get them to come up in price or improve their offer in some fashion. There are a lot of people that say that's unethical or underhanded. It's not. I represent the seller, and if I'm trying to get them the best deal, then that's the way we're going to do it. Past that, if buyers call and say, well, I want to know what the terms of the winning offer were, well, that's nice, but you'll find out, some of that on the day of closing. At any rate, it sounds like you're playing a game of high stakes poker. In some respects, you are. And that's why I'm here. That's one of the things that's one of my functions, is to help you through that process. And I've negotiated hundreds and hundreds of transactions. And that's, why, people hire me to give those recommendations. So that being said, if you have any questions regarding multiple offers from the seller side, give me a call. I'll be happy to discuss it. Next week, we'll talk about the buyers and how we can make your buyer's offer more lucrative to a seller in a multiple offer situation. And that's it for the week. Interest rates 2.77 on a 30-year fixed. That's it. Wherever you are, stay safe and healthy. I know the vaccines are rolling out, so sign up if you haven't already. Wherever you are, stay safe and healthy. We'll see you next week.